Welcome to Swolefam. After playing tons of GW games, it's easy to see a lot of misconceptions that people have because of either deceptive advertising or just kind of traps that people fall into. So since it's a reflective time of year, I wanted to look back and kind of shore up some classic Warhammer misconceptions that you as a newer player might run into. Just as a note, a lot of these will be kind of generalists and not specific to like a faction in a game or something like that. One of the most common ones we've run into from either randos at LGSs or GW employees themselves is that Killteam is sold as a simpler game than 40k because of its smaller model count. However, in Killteam's current iteration, that couldn't be farther from the truth. While we enjoy Killteam here at Swolefam, the game is very crunchy and technical. A lot of the complexities are skimmed over by players, from cover to terrain placement to the model data sheets. There's so much crammed into this game that even learning the basics can take up to a dozen games or more. With the trimming of 10th edition 40k's rules, the game is easier than ever to play for new and old players alike. So if you're new to tabletop games in the 41st millennia, don't pick up Killteam if you're betting on it being easier to learn. Number 2, elite armies are meant for new players. Another common scenario we run into, a new player will pick up Custodes because they only require a handful of models to paint before playing. Eventually, they never play because of various reasons like them being hard to build, paint, or aren't an auto win like they were promised. This can be linked to 40k Knights and Sons of Bahamut and AOS as well. Elite armies seem like an easy entry to new players, but gameplay wise, you have to remember you have less resources on the tabletop, which can make for frustrating first impressions. Also, the aforementioned armies aren't cheap to get into or easy to build or paint in the case of Custodes. Funnily enough, the army pushed as the head honcho for 40k Space Marines are actually beginner friendly. At the end of the day, play what you enjoy and not just a shortcut to the tabletop. The hobby is a marathon, not a race. Number 3, Horus Heresy is the most expensive GW game to start. While it easily can be the most expensive GW game because of highly expensive, albeit beautiful Forge World resin models, I think it's not properly articulated that you can easily learn to play Horus Heresy, aka 30k, out of one Age of Darkness box. Using the entire contents of said product can net you between 2 to 2.5k points for your army. While normal games are played at 3,000 points, many people say that 2,000 point games are a fine starting point to learn how the game functions. After Age of Darkness, you can further expand your horizons to fit the specifics of your legion. So the initial purchase MSRPs for $310, though it can easily be found nowadays for around $250. Add another purchase like the Legion Astartes battle group for $180 to $200, and you have over 3,000 points to play with for under $500. While that is a serious chunk of change, a lot of full-size Age of Sigmar and 40k armies can cost over $600 to $800. Sure, it's easy to get strung into Forge World whole, but focus on that after you decide that if this is the game for you or not. Number 4, 40k is the most competitive-minded GW game. Now on to spicier territory, 40k is the biggest GW title, thus the most people play the game, hence the most tournaments happen for it, and even people have made pseudo-careers off of playing this game. But even with all that, if you're a competitive-minded individual, you're better left with Killteam or Underworlds. I should preface my personal belief is that dice games are hard to make truly competitive because of the inherent RNG aspect of them. That being said, GW's development team designed and balanced Killteam with extreme nuance to keep it as toned as possible, while Underworld's tagline is literally the ultimate competitive tabletop game. The largeness of 40k, I believe, forced GW to focus on satiating the competitively inclined players, but the focus of the game is fairly generalist. While games like Killteam and Underworlds are smaller, they have also proven time and time again that if you want to compete, these are the places where you'll find those competitive scenes and find more enjoyment out of your hobby. And number 5, Age of Sigmar is simpler than 40k. One that I've been getting comments on time and time again. As of this video, 3rd edition Age of Sigmar is not simpler than 10th edition Warhammer 40k. Plain and simple. The complex nature of 9th edition 40k turned a lot of people off to the game, me included. However, as 3rd edition Age of Sigmar has trundled towards its end, it has filled a similar space of being overcomplicated with GHBs, supplementary rules, and endless bookkeeping quote-unquote gameplay. If you're a person who likes 40k and were turned off by the beginner unfriendly learning curve, then 10th edition is actually the perfect starting point for you. As mentioned earlier, trimmed down rules and tuned down stats give away to a lot of positive gameplay experience from the Swolefam team and others we know. So if you've been out of the loop, 40k is no longer the complicated mess that it once was, and give it and other games a shot. You may find something you enjoy. So that's it! If you couldn't tell, the whole kind of premise of this was not only to help new players and guide them like the whole point of this channel is, but also just to give out that message of truly playing what you like and finding enjoyment out of that. After being in the hobby for about half a decade, I have to say that you see a lot of times where people don't really play what they want to play, either game or faction wise, because they stick to something their friend group plays and get stuck in a lot of scenarios that make it kind of just a miserable experience for themselves. And since it is the holiday season, give the gift of enjoying your hobby to yourself. As always, this is Rafiq from Swolhammer. Stay swole.